Genesis, Principle #10, Holy Living, looks at Genesis 6:1-11 and says, as society slides deeper into corruption and violence, God still expects and enables his people to live differently, as Noah did, who walked with God in a dark generation. 1. The setting, a world collapsing morally. Genesis 6:1-4 shows humanity multiplying and growing powerful, but not in a godly way. The sons of God take daughters of men, however they choose, and the Nephilim and mighty men become symbols of a culture where strength, status, and sexuality are abused rather than submitted to God. The point is not to satisfy curiosity about the Nephilim, but to show that sin now shapes relationships, power structures, and public life. Verses 5-7 give God's devastating assessment. Every inclination of human thoughts is only evil continually. The earth is corrupt and filled with violence. God is grieved and decides to bring judgment by wiping out humanity, animals, and creeping things from the face of the earth. Sin is no longer occasional, it saturates the culture. 2. The contrast, Noah's holy life in a corrupt world. Right, in that dark description comes the contrast. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God, Genesis 6:8-9. Several key truths are embedded here. Found favor, grace, comes before righteous. Noah's different life is rooted in God's grace, not personal moral superiority. Righteous and blameless do not mean sinless, but that his life was marked by integrity and obedience in relation to God and people in the middle of a crooked generation. Walked with God echoes Enoch in Genesis 5. It describes an ongoing relationship, daily fellowship, agreement with God's ways, and steady obedience rather than one-time religious acts. So Genesis 6 places two ways side by side, a world where everyone lives by appetite, power, and violence, and a man whose whole life is oriented around God's presence and word. 3. The principle, holy living as the world decays. The principle, as the world becomes more and more decadent, we should continue to trust God to enable us to live righteous and godly lives. Draws out this contrast and applies it. From Genesis 6:1-11, we see, decadence is not new. From early in human history, whole cultures have become normalized in evil. Increasing moral darkness should not surprise God's people. Holiness is possible in any generation. God always has those like Noah who walk with him even when surrounded by corruption. The standard is not live better than the culture, but walk with God. Grace precedes godliness. Noah's righteousness grows out of grace, found favor, reminding believers that they rely on God's enabling, not personal strength, to live holy lives in a hostile world. For believers today, this means refusing to let cultural decay become an excuse for compromise. Everyone does it. And instead letting Scripture, not society, define righteousness, expecting pressure, misunderstanding, and isolation when living differently, but seeing this as part of walking with God in any age, actively trusting God for strength, through His Spirit, His Word, and His promises, to pursue purity, justice, and obedience when the environment pushes in the opposite direction. In short, Genesis 6:1-11 teaches that even when every inclination around us is drifting away from God, those who have found favor in His eyes can, like Noah, still live righteous and godly lives, because the call to holiness is matched by God's grace to enable it.